Still trying to figure out the best way to handle podcast recordings.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like the good ones are going to pay too, because Skype sucks. I use Skype and it just sucks. Now everything else people tell me to go to, there's hardly any free versions of anything. God forbid pay for something, but
yeah.
Oh well.
Like Cash PT, right? Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah, there you go, dude. Yeah, all of a sudden, too, you have to pay for it. Now you start. See, by the way, that was perfect segue, right? Because all of a sudden, when shit isn't free anymore, like you got $1,000 deductible, now you start asking questions, right? And I just did a post on that. It's like people now are asking, well, what do I get for my money? It was like, you didn't care when it was fucking $20 copay. Why do you care now?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a question nobody wants to ask, right?
And or even the reason why the cash-based model, I believe, came about anyways, that people...
Hold on. I got to tell this guy I butt dialed him real quick, sorry.
Was that a duck? Was that a duck?
I butt dialed you, sorry.
Duck.
That was a duck?
Yeah, sorry, man.
That was a quack, right?
Yeah.
Dimir?
Dude, that was the Michael Eisenhart. You don't just let that go to voicemail, dude.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, it's not like some lowlife was calling me. That was Mike Eisenhart.
Hell yeah. And was that a quack on the ringtone?
Yeah, dude. That's the only ringtone that I never miss. I've gone through every ringtone, dude.
How fitting. How fitting.
Yeah. And my dogs, when I first set that, my dogs freaked out every time the phone rang. They've gotten used to it, but yeah, that was pretty fun.
Perfect.
So, and here we are about asking the right questions, and we could talk again for hours and hours on this. We're the only industry, healthcare, that in America that has a separation between the consumer and the payment. Right? Tell me another industry. You go to a grocery store, you come with the money. You go buy a pair of shoes, you come with the money. Go to Starbucks, you come with the money. Go get healthcare. Oh, here's my insurance card. What's your coverage? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's what I've been dealing with for the years. And people don't like to hear that. And we like to blame everybody else. Yet we need to blame ourselves for two things: not asking the right question, then not holding this patient accountable. What do you mean you don't know your insurance? Oh yeah, you ought to see, I got an email right now. Well, this isn't my issue because my insurance didn't pay you guys. And it was like, okay, two things. Two things. It's your issue because what goes in front of your insurance is the word you. So it is your issue. So let's step back and start from there. Okay. I'm not we don't have to challenge each other, but I'm telling you, this is your insurance. So therefore you are responsible. I've had more conversations start like that in 15 years. Well, it's an insurance issue. So this isn't about me. Oh, doesn't say Jerry Durham on the card, does it? I've told people, you got your insurance card? Yeah. Can you flip that thing over and tell me whose name is on the front?
And that's why it sucks, right? Because they're putting the onus on you to, like, all right, you
are correct, dude.
You figure that shit out.
And they still do it. The times are a changing, let me tell you. And everything we talk about is different in a good way. And some of this stuff, and I'm dead serious, I don't think I'll see a change in my lifetime, but the change is starting now. And so they still will put the onus on me. They still will put the responsibility on everybody else. I understand. I've been reading these articles about people showing up at hospitals and seeing emergency rooms and seeing out-of-network doctors and getting tagged with the bill. I get that. That's fucked up. That's wrong. Yeah. You coming to me and me checking your insurance benefits and giving you all the information, and then when your insurance doesn't pay me or fucks with me, it's my fault? No. That is a separate issue. So that's why, we bulk everything into healthcare. And so I get involved in those arguments and go, I get that, but what about people, what about these other out-of-network providers? So yeah, it is, boy, there's a couple ways to get me going. We could talk some baseball, but the other one is this whole insurance thing and the separation, the separation in the U.S. between people and their insurance. And I put that as one of the top 2 or 3 biggest issues within healthcare, because so much of the problem in healthcare trickles down from that. People, again, where else is there such a separation with cost? When you go to Starbucks, that fucking latte costs $3.59 every fucking time.
Yeah.
When you go buy a new pair of shoes, you choose. By the way, when you go buy a new pair of shoes you like, what's the first thing you do? You flip it over and look at the price tag on the bottom.
Yeah.
You go buy a new car, you go buy a new bed, you go to take care of yourself, make yourself healthy. Nobody can tell you what it costs. And you tell me, where is the problem? And that's an insurance issue. There's this separation. That's what the hospitals do. That's what the insurance industry wants.
Damn.
And by the way, and they proliferate this because when you call them to try to settle the problem, you can't fucking get to anybody. So I make the mistake. What do? I make the mistake of picking up the phone and saying, how can I help you? That's the mistake I make, because the insurance company, you can hear the sarcasm there. The insurance companies just don't pick the phone up, and that's their solution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Automated voice.
Yeah, dude.
You got to go through 15 automated voice systems. By then, you done already punched in your whole entire social security number 10 times.
Right. Dude, and then when you get to the and I'm doing the quotes thing, right person, it's not the right person. So yeah, this is an issue. So you want to talk about not having to deal with insurance. There is this realness, and there's this connection you can make with people. I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm not saying it's the wrong way. I'm not saying it's the only way. But when you form a healthcare business and you eliminate insurance, you've taken down a barrier to helping people. And everybody can tell me now I've alienated all these other people, yet I have all these other people I can help. I get it. So let's figure out how to apply this to everybody, not just my little world. I get it.
Yeah.
So let's start asking the different questions. If I can do it here by lowering that barrier, how can the in-network and the people who have to depend on insurance, how do we lower that barrier for them?
And then I feel like that leads into so many other questions and potential opportunities, right? Because it's like, can we get into helping people before they even need to be helped, right?
Yeah, that's my big kick right now. Especially go spend a day with Mike Eisenhart, and you'll be like, what profession did I get in? In a good way. Yeah, don't get me wrong, because I spent a day up there with him, and it just changed everything.
Wow.
In a good way. Yeah, I love what he's doing.
That also makes me think, is it more or less the culture of the company? Is it the culture of the therapist? Is it that we all got into this and said, hey, I really want to help people, but then you look around and everyone is leaving at 5, no one really pushing the envelope, and then you have people like me, Jared, and I guess yourself, that are like, no, we have to do more than just go to the house and be happy with what we're doing and seeing out there in healthcare. Do you believe that it's pushing the envelope issue, or is it more that people just believe that they're doing enough?
You know what? It's about 3 of those things. There are people who believe they're doing enough. Then there are the people, and by the way, this was me, the people who got out of school who wanted to do more and couldn't find anybody doing it, and finally just gave up looking for it. And I gave into it for a while. And it was because I couldn't find anybody else doing it, right? We all want a leader. We all want to find our tribe. And if you can't find it, if you're roaming around the wilderness and you've run across 3 or 4 tribes and they're not really your tribe, and you can't find your tribe, you're going to go hook up with one of those 3 or 4 other ones, right?
Yeah.
So there's that issue. So there's the issue of, yes, the people just doing enough. They'll never do more. Then there's the people who are looking for the leaders. Then I think really those are the 2. So the key is the person wandering has to be able to find the leader in the tribe. And again, I'm going to go back to this. There are more resources and more ways to find good tribes and good leaders than there ever was. I met Mike Eisenhart on Twitter. Okay. So theoretically, if there's I lie. Did I meet Mike Eisenhart on Twitter? Let's just go with it.
I believe it.
There are a lot of people. I think I met him face to face elsewhere, but we continued on Twitter, and the conversation continues on Twitter, and I stay in touch with him on Twitter. And there are people, it's easier to find your tribe now. And whether you meet them face to face, and you can see it on Twitter, you can see it on Facebook, people that kind of gather up and find these people who think like them. And I think that's a really good thing. And I think it's easier to find leaders today, and people who don't find leaders. So that first group who just don't want to do anything differently, they are a problem. And that's a choice. It's a choice at this point. And I like to say at this point, ignorance is a choice because all the information is about, you like that? Ignorance is a choice. All the information that we need, we have to work at it. We have to work to find it. All the information we need is available to us. And I've had more shit shared with me on Twitter that I would have never known existed except for I was there. And then I chose to engage in it. Mm-hmm. And so the information is there. And so for you to sit back and go, well, I don't know this, I don't know that, to call something fake news, we're not getting into politics, but to call something fake news is so lazy. It's lazy. It's lazy, people. The information is available. If you only clicked on that story and you read it and you believed it, then you continue to have conversations with, by the way, this applies to healthcare. Mm-hmm. If you then had conversations with only people who believe that same article and you didn't talk to anybody else, that's not a fucking fake news issue. That's you're ignorant issue.
Yep.
Damn.
I don't even remember the original question, but it's about people who won't push the envelope and people who want to push the envelope. So there is the ability to find these people now. And that's why you guys, I see more engaged. I just, I was thinking today, I knew I was going to get on the phone with you and this stuff was going to happen. So I was trying to think back to school going, if I was in school today, would I be engaged as you guys? And I don't know. I can't answer that honestly.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions, couldn't find the answers, and then I gave up. So, I gave up. Yeah, me. It wasn't anybody else's fault. I gave up. And then finally, this stuff starts coming back around and I find people doing what I believed in 24 years ago and now, still pushing that way.
Man, so much from that, Demir.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's overwhelming to some degree, the amount of resources. And
that's why I wonder if I was in school, if I'd still be so involved or if I'd just be curled up in a corner because I would just be, there'd be so much content out there that I wouldn't know how to separate it. So with life comes the experience of learning how to manage your time, learning how to manage your priorities, learning how to manage the things you should manage, right?
Yeah.
And so I freak out sometimes because I'm like, if 1985 Jerry was dropped into 2015, at that same age, I might just implode. Actually, I would explode. I wouldn't implode. I'd explode. Man.
There you go. I mean, yeah, that's time management and goal setting is something I'm struggling with right now. It's like, I guess I'm waiting for a system to drop from the sky that would plug in everything my dreams and desires and tell me how to achieve them in a timely fashion, right? But
you know who I think the best person is right now for all this stuff? Is Tim the close dude. No, I've got good stuff from her. Tim Ferriss. Just scroll. All you have to do is scroll back through like his last. You don't even start from the beginning. Just go back through his last 10 podcasts. How to be the best you. The 17 most important questions I asked myself. The issue here is, how old are you, Jared? Seriously.
25.
So you don't have the same context I do. And by that, I mean, I just have 50 more years of doing shit and it's just doing it. Right. And so the stuff I listen to now with like Tim Ferriss, I have no idea because I've sat there and thought literally, what would I have done with this information at 25? So all I'm going to say is there's valuable stuff for you with the goal setting, with helping you to figure out where you want to be, even without the same context that I'm listening to this stuff in. And, that Tools of Titans book, and I'm not even getting paid for this, he just wrote, it will be the first book of his I ever bought, because he was smart enough to just, and this is what I love about his podcast, he just gets people who are fucking way smarter than him, and he puts them on there, and he digs and digs, and I've learned so much from the interviews.
Yeah.
The other podcast I'm going to plug is Inside Quest. I learned more from those two, Inside Quest and Tim Ferriss, than I have anything else in a short amount of time.
And you mentioned that to me last time. It's the owner of the Quest bars, right?
You got it. And I didn't realize it was a Quest bar guy till about 4 or 5 episodes in. Yeah, it is. And he's down here. I got to get into the studio and go to one of the recordings.
Awesome.
So,
And I second that behind Jared with all of the different inputs that are going in. And I was talking to my fiance, and I was like, wow, definitely going to open up a cash-based business. Let's do a podcast. And at the end of it, I was like, I don't know if I want to open up a cash-based business anymore. So that constant struggle between what you want and what you sort of kind of really don't want, but really see at the end of the right? It's just the gold. Is it gold? Is it glitter? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're back to, we've doubled back to that second Twitter question. Find yourself a mentor. Find a mentor who's doing it. Don't find a mentor who says they want to do. I've made this mistake, by the way. I found people who said they want to do this, and I'm like, oh, will you help me? Yeah, I'll help you. And I realized they were more of a deterrent. They were dragging me down. You've got to find someone who's achieving. I shared this recently. If you want to run $1 million business, you got to find someone running about $1.5 million to a $2 million business. Right. I've made that mistake. I wanted $1 million business. I found someone running a couple $100,000 business. Guess what? He never got me there. Right. So find that person. I want to own five offices. Okay. Find that person who's grown beyond, what they have. Right. Don't find the guy, I want to create a business. So I'm going to get this guy or girl who's just themselves. They answer the phones all day. They treat patients. They do all the scheduling. They can help me grow into a bigger clinic. No, they can't.
Yeah, because that's exactly what people do between the huge companies like Yahoo and Google, is that they don't find the person that was 10th in the class or someone who didn't grow the business or their rival. They find them and pay them a little bit more money and bring them in. So it's just like
Right. And then remember, great things have been done with people. Gary Vee did that real short burst. Great things have been done by people who were 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th into Google, into Yahoo, and everything else, right? So, that's an interesting concept. But yeah, find someone who's doing it. And again, when we get clinical mentors, we find people who are doing it and been successful. So why don't we do that in the business world, right? Or personal world, like a coach,
Absolutely.
When are we going to get to the important shit?
What's that?
The BC. We haven't asked my favorite Beastie Boys album.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think now's the best time to do that.
Yeah, I think as I don't have kids, but the closest I could think about that's like asking someone with 3 kids to choose their favorite. I'm going to have to default to 2 of them. So I'm going to go with Check Your Head and Ill Communication. Probably ill Communication. If you held a gun to my head, Ill Communication would be number 1. And then Check Your Head would be number 2.
Awesome.
And did you know the Beastie Boys play all their own instruments on all their albums? I
did not know that.
There you go, boys. See? There you go. Now everybody gets to learn something.
R.I.P. MCA.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude. Yeah, that was, don't get me going. I had tickets, man. I had tickets for a couple shows when he got diagnosed.
Damn.
I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to watch the Beastie Boys go in. He didn't make the trip because obviously he was sick as shit. And then I think he died 2 months later.
Damn.
Yeah, so I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Me and my buddy Kanad got on a plane. Here's a great story. You guys want a great Twitter story?
Hell yeah.
I'll go after. So Beastie Boys get announced that they're going on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I parked my ass in front of the computer and bought tickets for the show, for the induction ceremony. So I'm like, who wants to go with me? So I contacted like 2 people. First 2 said no. And finally my buddy Kanad, I said, you want to go? He goes, yeah, the Chili Peppers are going in. They're my favorite band. I said, okay, good. We're going to Cleveland. I'd never been to Cleveland. So I get on Twitter and I tweet at a PT that I'd had conversations with that I never met. And that was Aaron Burkett. And I'd never met him face to face. So he's telling me the places to stay, the area to stay in. And it worked out perfectly. I mean, where he told me to stay was dead on. He's from Cleveland. He lives outside of Cleveland, but they have Brown season tickets. So he knew the city well. So we get to town and I tweet him and I say, hey, dude, you want to meet up? He goes, sure. Yeah, let's meet up. So we agree a place to meet. And I just love Cleveland. I love cities. I'm a city boy. So I love Cleveland. Went back again recently with Aaron. But he met us. So we go out, we go to pizza, we go drink. And it was like, hey, you got time to hang out? Yeah. So he got into town at about noon, 1 o'clock. Maybe. He left town at 10. So he stands up. We're in a restaurant having dinner. He stands up and says, well, I better get back to town. I had no idea where he's from. I thought he lived in Cleveland. I'm like, dude, how far away are you from here? He goes, oh, I live about 2 hours away. That man drove 2 hours to meet up with someone he had never met before, right? And that's one of my favorite Twitter stories ever because I met him on Twitter. And, I flew back to Cleveland again this year. We did the Indians on a Friday. And then we did the Browns home opener on a Sunday. So we had a great time. Yeah, I drove out there and met him, and we just had a great time again.
That's the power of Twitter.
You got it, dude. So yeah, we were talking Beastie Boys, but then we said Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so it got me going. So yeah, that's my favorite stuff. Yeah, huge Beastie Boy. And you have that stuff from the beginning of the recording, but yeah, I always thought I could talk them into let me join. I could just be that guy. I could be like kind of a Flava Flav who didn't
like a hype man.
Oh yeah, dude, exactly. I could have been Flava Flav without the singing part, right? I could just be the dude in the back with my arms crossed the whole time.
Yeah, huge medallion.
Right? Yeah, dude.
Shades. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Every true group needs a hype man.
Oh yeah, dude. Yes, they do. I can just I can't tell you what groups had them, but I can envision the hype guy in the back. I mean, I'm pretty sure Public Enemy had a lot of concerts with just 2 or 3 guys standing in the back with their arms crossed the whole fucking show, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're the hype man for physiotherapy.
Yeah, dude. Exactly.
You are our Flavor Flav.
So, someone said, so here's another side note. So Chuck D inducts the Beastie Boys in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, love them, obviously. And so I'm sitting at the airport next morning to fly to Vegas to speak at a conference. So I'm sitting at the airport in Cleveland. It's like 6 a.m. I'm down at the American end of it, and it appears there's only like one flight for every major city leaving Cleveland, and it's at the same time from the American end. So I see all these people who are obviously music people walking down the other end because all the West Coast flights are getting ready to go. All of a sudden, Chuck D walks by, and he's by himself, and I'm sitting there, and it's like a moment in time when I'm like, okay, I got 5 seconds to make a decision. Or do I go? And I go. So I ran up to him. I love it. I ran up to him. I said, the typical shit. I said, I'm so sorry to bother you. I said, if you don't mind, I just wanted to say hello and how honored I am to say hello to you because I flew all the way out here just to see the Beastie Boys go into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And he was so stunned and he was so nice.
Wow.
And we had such a great conversation. And at one point he goes, hey, well, he goes, I got to get down to my gate in LA. That's where you're flying. Come on, walk down with me. I said, oh, actually I'm going to Vegas. He goes, Vegas? He goes, Vegas? Flames in Vegas. And I was just like, of course he is.
That's awesome.
So there's a story. Yeah, that was such an epic weekend.
Yeah,
that was great.
Well, he started a revolution with all of the love shows.
Oh, no, I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, no, that was just – you don't even want to know all the spinoffs that came off of that show.
Yeah, I bet, man.
Yeah.
I bet.
So should physical therapy enter the reality TV show realm?
Oh, of course, dude. There's nothing we shouldn't do. Well, look, we were in reality TV, right? It was the Olympics, and it was all the cupping shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey.
So here we go. Here's an opportunity, right? And I'm going to go on record and say we fucked that opportunity up.
I was about to hint at that. I was about to ask you.
Yeah, we fucked that up.
I mean, you go on the Today Show, and it's all the coaches and whatever cup practitioners there are. And then, to shit on us a bit, we just debated that shit, right? We just went on Twitter.
We sat back and argued with ourselves for everybody to watch.
Perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
PT 101.
Yeah. And again, if we step back and ask the right question, it's not, oh, this is wrong, this is right. It's like, well, let's step back. It's like, how Okay, let's ask why. I just read a great book called Susceptible You by Eric Vance, and I'm hoping to get him on my podcast soon. Susceptible You, and it's a whole book about placebo and nocebo, and just looking at the history of it and talking to people. He has what I love about it, and I just wrote a review on Amazon for it. I wrote, he has no opinion of it. He's just trying to share, and he's asking all these questions. And when you get to the last page, you're like, wow, that was a lot of questions, and now I have more questions. I'm like, that's the way it should be, right? And so we've taken the word placebo and we've made it a bad word. We've made it a naughty word, and nobody's allowed to say it. And placebo, when used with evidence-based medicine, can improve outcomes. So we have to learn how to engage it, because placebo is simple enough as someone walking into the clinic and going, this looks like the right place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Versus someone walking in and going, oh, I'm not sure if I'm in the right place. Kind of dirty, kind of loud, kind of looks like everywhere else I've been.
Look at those stains in the carpet.
Right. Yeah. And guess what? Both of those people are now going to achieve a different outcome because of that. Right. So it's not about what you deliver, for their condition. It's about the whole picture. It's about the whole person. It's about the whole experience.
And that's, Alan and I were just talking about that yesterday.
Oh, really?
And it's something I brought it up again. It's something I'm still struggling with to understand, but it's just what you're saying. It's like everything we learned in school and the continuing ed, the variables of clinical treatment, whether it's manual therapy, whether it's cupping, dry needling, corrective exercise, whatever is in our toolbox, those are just variables to providing what you said, an experience. And overall, it's the experience that counts. You can plug in with whatever variables for the most part, right? Towards getting that patient better or giving them an experience that they can honestly do a testimonial for you and say, I achieved my outcomes or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is such a interesting conversation. It'd be interesting to get Eric Vance on the podcast, because I want to get more experienced people. So Eric Vance has a biology degree, which is okay, but I want to get some other people just talking about customer experience, patient experience, and talk more about that in 17, and let everybody argue about what we deliver. You guys argue about what we deliver. I'm going to talk about how we deliver it. I'm going to talk about why we deliver it, right? And another guy, John Wolf out of Arizona, is awesome with this. And he has this awesome conversation he has with someone who comes in and asks for ultrasound. And guess what? That person will probably get ultrasound on the first day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that person will probably not get ultrasound anymore. So if you want to put that person into this into this big group that he's not a good practitioner, then we're all going to fail. If you want to look at everything within its context, and that's the way the bulk of the people present that we see, then are we willing to look at the whole experience and weigh the evidence of the whole experience and not just a single encounter or a single intervention? This was my beef earlier about a conversation about the biopsychosocial approach to people with pain. I keep asking, everybody is a biopsychosocial patient. Everybody who walks in has a biology, has a psychology component, and has a and a social component, right? So if we want to argue about who's we do this all the time. We swing the pendulum. Oh, manual therapy is bad. Manual therapy with exercise is okay, right? So why the fuck don't we just talk about that?
Yeah.
Right? Why do we keep wanting to bring everything down? And this is my beef with. I'm not anti-science. I'm a huge science guy. I love science. It's about application of science. Mm-hmm. And so, science's role science's role is not about application. It's about answering questions. Application is the art of it. Okay. Right. Science says, A versus B, A. For whatever you were testing, and you're testing, remember your science doesn't prove anything. It disproves things, that this will not do what you claimed it did. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So once we understand that better, and really the job of science is to ask more questions. So when you get done, you should say, oh, okay, what next, right? Okay, what next? Okay, what next? And then the scientists and the clinical people have to come together tighter in physical therapy. We have to do what's best for the patient.
The brief history lesson that I know of why we started to do is A better than B or B better than C is because we felt like we weren't getting that respect from other professions. And I think that what led to our downfall a little bit.
No. No, we have to have the science. We have to have the science, right? So no. We have to have it. And I'll never give into that. Even though you read my tweets, you think I'm anti-science. And I get it sometimes. Because I feel like I got to swing it back to the patient and that whole experience and that model that I had pinned to the top of my Twitter feed where there's so many components. You can't take a person functioning in this world and apply one fucking scientific study to them that controlled down everything. Because when that woman sitting across from you got up at 4:30 because she's a single mom to get 2 kids ready and to get them off to daycare so she could go to a job that barely pays for daycare, and now you're asking her why the fuck she has back pain, and you can apply all the evidence-based medicine you want. You got to delve into all this other stuff, and you got to deal with the biopsychosocial part of that, right?
Right.
And then,
but yet you're sitting there going, yeah, I got a low back pain patient today. No, you didn't. No, you fucking did not. You don't have a low back pain patient sitting in front of you.
You have Sandra who hates her job and tolerates her kids.
And busts her ass, dude. And she's busting her ass.
And had to deal with your receptionist that gave her
by
attitude.
The way, and who gave her attitude. And here's my favorite part. Here's the big home run. When she self-discharges after 3 visits because you didn't help her, she was then a problem patient. Because it couldn't have been your fault. No way, Jared. You did everything you could during those 3 weak-ass visits. No, I get it. No, dude. Couldn't have been your fault.
Program that everyone
yeah. No, Sandra's a malingerer. She's never going to get better. She's just one of those problem patients. Did you call her? No, I'm not calling her. She don't want to get better.
Damn.
She fucking showed up for her eval. She wants to fucking get better.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this shit is hard, man. This shit is hard. Physical therapy, we got in this job to help people. And I'm here to tell you, helping people is hard.
Yeah.
And no one wants to admit that. Everybody wants to admit, oh, this is hard. Science is hard. This is hard. And then you got the most complex system in the whole fucking universe sitting across from you. And you want to go, this is easy. No, it's not. The hard part starts out. That's why I love everybody posting about school and how hard school is. And I got all these tests, and tomorrow I got 9 fucking finals. I can't wait to get out of school. I met someone this week when I graduate tomorrow. And school's so hard. I'm so happy to be out. I said, hey, when you go to work on Monday and you're sitting across from your first ever patient, it's only you and them in the room together. Let me know what was hardest.
Oh, damn.
I'm just saying, let's just keep everything in perspective. I'm not saying school ain't hard because school's hard, but man, the hard part starts the day you get that license because now you got to work at it, man, every day, and everybody's different. And this is that thing, that 13th person in your day has to be treated the same way as the first person, or else you're failing them.
Absolutely.
So again, back to models, and are we asking the right question? Should we be treating 13 people a day? I don't know. What is the best model for keeping everybody fresh, right? Patients, giving them everything they deserve every visit. And yes, there are people who don't want to get better. I get it, but the majority of people do.
Absolutely.
What's the secret to keeping it fresh, Jerry?
I don't know. I think maybe getting out of it every once in a while, asking new questions. Making sure you take days off, man. I worked a 4-10. I had Wednesdays off. I think that was one of the best things I ever did. So I worked 2 days in a row treating people. I was still treating patients full time. I had Wednesdays off, and then I treated people 2 days straight. But I never had a run of more than 2 days, right? And looking back, that was the best thing. Everybody wants a 3-day weekend. I tried that. I took Mondays off and took Fridays off and took Wednesdays off. I never felt better. So stuff like that, right? And so asking new questions, how can I stay fresh? Like you said, maybe I look for a clinic that only makes me see 10 people a day and I refuse to work anywhere else. Nothing wrong with that. If that's what you believe is going to make you the best physical therapist and help your patients the best.
All right.
Or just go start your own fucking clinic and make your own rules.
Yeah, or that.
Sound like the plan.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. And at all levels. And by the way, whether it's a pro bono clinic or whatever it is, man, because there are people who want to solve big problems and they show up and get burned out. And as long as we all believe we're doing the best for that person who's in front of us at that moment in time, then we're doing what's best for the system too.
So it shows that we have a few minutes left. Are there any closing remarks you want to give? I know you've been hammering out all night. So
yeah, I just think, it was all in there. There's been a lot of growth over my career. There's been a lot of growth in the last year. 2016 was not a good year for me. And I don't mean politically because of who won the presidency. I could throw that out. But I learned a lot. I reflected a lot. There was a lot of self-doubt. And I think as long as you keep asking questions and, get involved in as many conversations as you can and be respectful of other people and understand your biases and understand your strengths and weaknesses, then you'll do awesome. Regardless, and just keep everything in perspective. Yes, school's hard, but being a PT is fucking harder than going to school. So just keep everything in perspective.
School's just jumping through the hoops, man, and knowing what they want.
It really is, man. It really is. That's what I say. It's like, you got to get through school. Anybody can get through school, and I'm sorry, but they can't.
Yeah. I'll tell my classmates, I said, this is the fun part. Whenever we get out there, you have no make-believe patient.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there you go. Real. That's a great line, dude. There are no make-believe patients.
There are no make-believe patients. You get no case study. None of that stuff.
Wait, we don't get case studies?
By the way, you are the case study.
Yeah.
No, but that was a great way of putting it. There's no fake patients, man, and you owe it to everybody. And again, when that person across from you is not appropriate and doesn't want to get better, then what you owe them is to help get them out of the system, right? So I'm not saying you got to burn yourself, out every single patient, but you got to come at each patient the same way. Okay, I got to have good clinical reasoning skills. I got to get to what I got to do. I got to make some change. I got to show them change. And then I got to make sure they're progressing towards what they want to do. And if they're not, I got to get them to the right place. And if that's your approach every Monday through Friday or on the weekends, then you'll do fine.
Great.
And then also what you said of being open-minded to if the patient wants ultrasound or, something like that on the first day. I've been conditioned to be like, well, that's bullshit and that's not going to work. Do I look deep in myself and be like, well, that's what they want. And
so that's a great point, because what you do at that point, you say, okay, what does this person truly want to achieve? And how do I steer this conversation and go in the direction where I can be their advocate and here's the word, I can build trust, right? I can build trust and build this therapeutic alliance. How can I do this best? And if giving them ultrasound on the first visit, I, as the professional, say that is going to do it, then I'm going to do it. Right?
Awesome.
Yeah. And not just about that person in front of you. That's that N of one, N equals one. It's about all the science. That's your foundation, but it's about, like we said, that woman who woke up at 4:30 and she's got 2 kids and she did show up for PET.
Thank you for listening to the Duck Race Podcast. It is Dimer Jones here, first-year student at South College University.
I'm Steven Liuza. I'm a second-year PT student at Langston University, Oklahoma City.
So the first thing I want to do is thank Jerry for coming on to the show. I can tell you that it was my first podcast, and I was extremely nervous. So just to wrap up the show a little bit, I just want to get your thoughts on the customer experience and what did you think about that entire landscape of that?
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed hearing that aspect because I think we do, just in reading a lot of the Facebook posts, stuff like that we do tend to put a lot of blame on others when in fact it could be ourselves, just, public perception, like realizing public perception and seeing how important it is that we educate our patients and, kind of fight for ourselves when not a lot of people are going to do it for us.